The year I was cornered, I agreed to my mother's request. That year, when I had nowhere else to turn, I agreed to my mother's request to marry in place of my real sister and take care of her blind husband. What they didn't know was that, in this substitute game, I had already fallen too deep into my role. Later, when we met again, he was holding my sister's hand, and in front of the media, he announced that they would hold a grand wedding to make up for what they missed. Everyone said they were a perfect match, their love as strong as gold. He twirled the wedding ring on his finger, gazing at the crowd. "My dear, you are the best in the world." My sister smiled brightly beside him, and I, sitting in the audience, held back my tears, clapping for their love. "Here's $1 million. The lavish woman sitting on the sofa handed me a check. I stared at her for a few seconds before reluctantly stepping forward to take it. "After today, Make's eyesight will be restored. So, you both can return to your respective positions," she said. Yes, the woman sitting on the sofa was my biological mother. She cast a doting glance at the girl standing beside her. "Nora, as for the details of your life, you can discuss it. Just make sure Make doesn't notice anything out of place." The girl nodded obediently. "I understand, Mom." After she left, Nora's sweet facade vanished, and she smirked, crossing her legs as she looked at me. "Lucie, my good sister," she said. "You really live up to your reputation as the best actress. If it weren't for you, how would Make have fallen for me? Anyway, I should thank you for these 2 years." I looked at the face that resembled mine, forced a smile, and replied, "But by the way, your acting skills are impressive. Why don't you come work as my substitute? For the pay, how about 80-20 split? Acting is better than whatever else you're doing, right?" I shook my head. The entertainment industry isn't for me. Nora is my twin sister. When I was 3, my father passed away unexpectedly. My mother, who already disliked my father, left the family the day after his death, taking Nora with her. I grew up in the countryside, living a life without my parents. My grandmother raised me. However, 2 years ago, when my grandmother became seriously ill and I didn't have the financial means to help, my mother came to me. At that time, I learned the truth. After leaving the countryside, my mother married my current stepfather, a wealthy and influential man who also happened to be her first love. She promised to help find the best doctor for my grandmother and provide her with the best medical care, in addition to $1 million. Her only condition was that I marry my sister's husband, Make, and care for him until he fully recovered. In front of my grandmother's life, I couldn't care about right or wrong, morals, or values. I only knew that my grandmother was my only family, and I couldn't lose her. I had to save her. Nora's marriage partner was Make, who had lost his sight due to an accident. The doctors said his recovery time was uncertain. Nora already disliked Make, and when she found out he had gone blind, she felt even more repelled. She thought he was just a useless man, rich and powerful but ultimately helpless. But she couldn't break off the engagement. It was a rare opportunity for their family. Then, Nora was diagnosed with brain cancer and had to undergo surgery abroad, with an uncertain return date. This was when my mother thought of me. Growing up, Nora and I looked almost identical. Even my mother couldn't always tell us apart. But as we grew older, Nora and I became less alike. She had undergone plastic surgery to remove all physical traces of my father. She despised him so much that she wanted to erase every bit of him from her appearance. Before marrying Make, my mother had trained me to imitate Nora. So, no one suspected a thing. Sometimes I wondered whether I was Lucie or Nora. I handed Nora a small notebook containing all the details of my 2 years with Make, our anniversaries, his habits. I had copied this for Nora. The other one I kept for myself. The 2 years I spent as Nora's substitute were a fulfillment of my own desires. When I handed the notebook to her, I truly felt like a substitute. Everything in those 2 years was just a dream. Nora flipped through the notebook, and a smirk appeared on her face as she saw something interesting. "Did you and Make have sex?" she asked with a teasing expression. I blushed. I had written it in an indirect way, but she bluntly called it out. All right, my good sister, I won't tease you," she said, her excitement rising. "Make is a great man, I haven't experienced him yet. By the way, to prevent future complications, I'm planning to undergo another round of plastic surgery after we settle down. Then you won't have to hide anymore." She was thinking about me, but more likely, she wanted to fix her lips. After all, our lips resembled our father's. I smiled bitterly. I remembered when we were young, my father used to carry us on his shoulders, calling us his little princesses. Now his other daughter was erasing all traces of him from her face. Nora handed me a set of keys. This is my apartment. You can stay there for now. Remember, until things settle down, wear a mask when you go out. I nodded obediently, then left the family. When my mother found me, aside from having me be Nora's substitute, she also wanted me to fulfill Nora's unspoken dream of being an actress. Nora had always wanted to be an actress but had never been able to get into film school. My mother saw an opportunity in me. If I succeeded, all the honors would go to Nora when she returned. If I failed, no one would blame her. Make underwent surgery and would soon have his bandages removed. Before the operation, he held my hand tightly. Dear, will you stay with me during the surgery? I'll be right here. I kissed his eyes. He smiled. I can't wait to see you. I made my way to the hospital, wanting to see him. Although I had promised Nora that I would always stay with him, I wanted to indulge myself for just once. After all, hadn't I already betrayed myself the moment I agreed to be the substitute? Inside the hospital room, as the bandages were removed, Make's eyes, once unfocused, finally locked onto Nora. Dear, you're beautiful. I heard the joyous sound of his voice clearly, even though I was outside the room. The applause of his family echoed in the background. I turned and left, my heart heavy. Why should I feel sorrow? Make had always loved Nora. During Make's blindness, his temper was terrible. It was the first time I had been close to him after we had gotten married. He destroyed everything in the wedding room. It was then that I realized that the boy I had loved from high school, the one I thought was perfect, had such a bad temper. At that time, I wondered, is he really blind or pretending to be? He often spoke coldly to me. From the insults he hurled at me, it seemed his relationship with Nora wasn't all that great either. I didn't take it to heart because he wasn't insulting me. Over time, because I kept silent, he eventually got bored and started to treat me with more respect. Later, Make began to depend on me more and more as I took care of him. However, during that time, in addition to taking care of him, I was also juggling my career as an actress. When I was filming, Make would move into a hotel near the set, staying there until my work was done. Sometimes he would feel insecure. One time, after I returned to the hotel, I immediately wanted to help him clean his eyes. As I approached him, he grabbed my hand and said with a frustrated tone, "You smell like another man." I was confused at first, thinking maybe it was just the cologne of a male actor I had worked with on set. It was part of the job and I planned to come up with an excuse to brush it off. But he looked at me with red eyes and snapped, "Nora, do you think I'm worthless? Do you think I'm a good for nothing?" Seeing him lose control like that, I felt hurt as well. At that time, I was trying so hard to keep my identity a secret while working as an actress. The more I thought about it, the more I felt wronged. My cries grew louder. Make was startled and he found me by following the sound of my sobs. He gently held me in his arms until I calmed down. "Nora, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you. I won't do it again." Before he could finish, I stopped him. The reason was simple. I had taken his first kiss. I grabbed his tie, my voice choked with tears. "Make, I like you. Don't you know that?" At that moment, I wasn't Nora. I was Lucie. The Lucie who first fell for Make in high school. For a long while, I let go of him. He remained stunned, still processing what had just happened. I stayed in Nora's apartment for nearly a month. During that month, I rarely went outside. Nora didn't come to see me either. I thought she must have been settling in quite well. After all, everything was back to where it belonged now. But 1 week later, Nora suddenly arrived at the apartment. "What's going on?" Nora, looking a bit angry, removed her sunglasses and mask. "I'm asking you, is Make normal?" I hesitated. "What do you mean? In what sense?" "What do you mean, what sense? Don't play dumb. I've been living with him for a month. Despite how beautiful I am, he hasn't shown any interest." Nora's eyes were full of disdain. "Tell me, is he broken?" I sighed in relief, glad she wasn't referring to the more intimate aspects of their relationship. Maybe deep down, I didn't want to share Make with her, considering all we had shared in the last 2 years. "I don't know. If he's not functional, then he's no man." Nora gritted her teeth in anger. "If it weren't for Mom's prohibition, I would have made you replace me." I was shocked. Did Nora want to have an affair within the marriage? What are you staring at? Are you willing to be a widow? I shook my head furiously. Though I didn't know what was going on with Make, based on my experience, I was certain he didn't have any real issues. After all, I had been through a similar experience when I couldn't go to work for 3 days. By the way, how's your acting going? It seemed that Nora was more concerned about her career than Make's health. I answered honestly. Nora furrowed her brow, losing her patience. Who cares? With the family and the Chi family backing me up, even if my acting skills suck, I'll still get great resources. Being a pretty face works too. She seemed to be venting to me and left shortly after. But before she left, she told me her lips had been touched up. Meaning, I could finally go and do what I wanted. Oh, since you helped me a lot, I'll let you do what you want. If you're really desperate, come work with the family business, Nora said as she grabbed her bag and walked away. I smiled bitterly. If I could, I didn't want to have anything to do with the family. After Nora left, the first thing I did was leave her apartment and return to my hometown. Luckily, my grandmother had been transferred from the ICU to a regular ward. A few nurses were looking after her. I was relieved to find that she was fine, though it would still take time for her to fully wake up. I stayed with her for a week before returning to the city. But I didn't go back to Nora's apartment. Since she had settled into her role, I figured it was time for me to move on. I had $1 million, which was more than enough for my grandmother's future treatment and care. When Nora and Make reappeared in my life, it was during an interview. At this point, I was working as Make's secretary. It was strange. I had majored in business management in college. After finishing my family contract, I tried to find a job. Lucky for me, I was hired by a top 500 company. Within a month, I was transferred to the headquarters. The reason they gave me was that my fortune seemed to match well with the company. I found this reason absurd, but I had no choice. When I reported to the headquarters, I was shocked to learn that my immediate superior was Make. As I was escorted into the office, I was so nervous that my palms were sweating. I noticed you look a lot like the CEO's wife, the secretary said, as if she had discovered something new. I didn't dare say much. I nervously responded, really? I haven't met her. The secretary opened the door and I saw a familiar figure. Make looked a bit taller now, and his hair was shorter, giving him a sharper look. He stared at my face for a few seconds. What's your name? I met his gaze and the nervousness disappeared. Lucie. He nodded and softly repeated Lucie. Then he went back to his work. As I turned to leave, tears unknowingly started to fall. It was the first time he had called my name, and it sounded so beautiful. Make's laughter echoed softly. Lucie, you not only look like my dear Nora, but you also have the same way of scolding me. He chuckled as if reminiscing about old memories. Back then, when I wanted her to notice me, I tried everything. She used to scold me non-stop like a machine gun. Never repeated herself. Make's voice was tinged with a hint of sadness. She used to scold me terribly, but strangely enough, I felt lucky to be with her. I froze. My heart skipped a beat and I quickly tried to mask my emotions. Having someone like Nora as a wife, Make, you must be very happy. He silenced his laugh, but a soft smile lingered on his face. Without saying anything, he reached out and took the porridge from my hands. I rested my head against the window, watching the scenery pass by, my thoughts drifting back to the past. Make wasn't lying. He really was immature back then. He would hurt himself just to get my attention. I remember one time I got so angry that I slapped him. That was the first time I had ever hit anyone. I had violated our agreement in a way, because the contract clearly said that I was supposed to take care of him, not neglect him. At that time, I was busy with filming and would come home late. Make was often alone in the hotel. There was one scene where the co-actor messed up, so I missed his calls. In frustration, he threw another tantrum. When I returned to the hotel, Make's condition was worse than now. He was lying on the bed, clutching his stomach, drenched in cold sweat. I bought him some stomach medicine, but in his fit of anger, he threw it away. That's when I noticed that the food I had ordered for him hadn't been touched. I was furious and yanked him off the bed, slapping him hard across the face. It was the first time I had ever raised my hand against him. I pinched his face and shouted, "Make! If this happens again, I'll never forgive you. Do you want me to be a widow? Or do you already have someone you like in the underworld?" I waited for an answer, but he stayed silent. We both stayed quiet for a long time. It was the angriest I'd ever been. His skin was pale, and after going blind he rarely left the house, so the slap mark on his face was clearly visible. I couldn't help but caress it, then softly coaxed him. "Will you take the medicine now?" He didn't resist. His eyes were red, and he muttered, "Nora, are you sick of me?" I couldn't bear seeing him so vulnerable and just kept soothing him. Finally, after my special care, he began to improve. "Will you take the medicine?" He didn't answer, so I had to put the medicine in my mouth and slowly feed it to him. That night, we truly understood each other's feelings. He finally felt secure and promised me that he would eat on time next time. But the painful memories hit me like a storm. I didn't dare to let a single hint show. Soon, we arrived at the event location. Nora was slightly taken aback when she saw me. She raised an eyebrow. Now, thanks to a drama I had starred in, Nora had become a big star. She had won Best Actress, and her popularity skyrocketed. Without a doubt, she was about to be swarmed with offers for commercials and variety shows. This interview was being streamed live, with millions of viewers watching. The scene was packed with people. The host smiled and looked at Nora and Make. "I hear you two have some big news to share with your fans?" The crowd started to cheer and get excited. Who doesn't love the beautiful love story of a top actress and a wealthy entrepreneur? Voices in the crowd shouted, "Perfect couple! Give us a child! Kiss!" Nora smiled gracefully. "How about you announce it, Make?" Make took the microphone from her, his voice steady. "I want to hold a grand wedding for my dear. During my blindness, I was very thankful to her. If it weren't for her, I would have been nothing but a useless person." The host continued, "Make, is there anything else you'd like to say to Nora?" Nora gazed at him, looking all shy and sweet in front of the camera. Make didn't look at her, his eyes focused on the audience. "My dear is the best in the world." His wedding ring sparkled brightly. The host quickly pointed out, "Oh, is that ring you're wearing the one you picked out, Make?" Make looked at the ring for a moment, then smiled. "No, it was given to me by my dear." The crowd applauded, calling Nora a brave woman. But as I watched them, tears welled up in my eyes. What they didn't know was that the ring on Make's finger was actually one I had bought for him. It was worth $2 million. It was all of my earnings from acting, which Mom insisted I give back to Nora. But Nora didn't want it, and I didn't keep anything for myself. I spent every penny to buy the rings. Make didn't say anything, but the smile on his face was enough. He promised that once he recovered, he would customize a special ring for me and give me a grand wedding. He said he would announce to the whole world that Make loves Nora. The interview went smoothly, and thanks to Make's status, Nora's fan base grew exponentially. After the interview, Nora and my mother pulled me aside to the stairs. Mom looked at me with a mix of disdain and wariness. "Lucie, you really don't know when to leave, do you?" "How? Did you spend that $1 million already?" Without hesitation, she slapped me hard across the face. "Why are you so shameless? Did you forget that if you break our contract, you owe us $8 million? I remembered every word in the contract. I calmly pulled away from her grip. "I didn't come here on my own accord. I told her everything." Mom sneered. "Who knows if you're doing this on purpose? Maybe you're just like your father." I glared at her. My father was upright. She waved her hand dismissively. "I'll give you $50,000 more to leave the family." "Don't think I don't know what you're up to. You're just trying to make him fall in love with you, then tell him the truth, aren't you?" I sneered. Mom was so arrogant. I think Mrs. Joe should open her eyes and take a good look. Now, I'm nowhere near resembling your precious daughter. Make isn't an idiot or blind. Do you think he would mistake someone else for Nora? I turned to leave the stairwell, but spotted Make's car by the roadside. Why was he still here? Was he waiting for Nora? I blinked and sighed, pulling out my phone to call a taxi back to the office. Just then, my phone rang. The caller was Make. I thought of letting it go to voicemail, but Make kept calling. Again and again. I answered the call. "Hello? Make?" He responded with a grunt. "Still in the restroom? Hurry up. I'm waiting outside." He was waiting for me? I quickly ran to the car and opened the door. "Make, I'm sorry." He looked at me for a moment, nodded, and signaled the driver to start the car. "What happened to your face?" he suddenly asked. Unconsciously, I touched the slap mark on my face. It still hurt a little. "It's nothing, just a misunderstanding. But it's been cleared up, and the person has already apologized." Make furrowed his brows. If it can't be settled, we can involve the company's legal team. Compensation will be paid when needed. Our company won't let outsiders bully us. I politely nodded, though my eyes involuntarily became red. My mother had asked me to leave the family business. I hadn't considered that lightly. I really wasn't suited to being around Make. After returning from the event, I tried submitting more resumes. Is the company treating you unfairly? A familiar voice came from behind me, startling me so much that I jumped up. When people are nervous, they tend to fumble. Like at this moment, I wanted to close the recruitment window, but no matter how much I clicked, it wouldn't close. I 8,000 a month? No accommodation or meals? He walked closer. Are you sure you're excited about this? The familiar scent filled the air. I tightly gripped my fingers, forcing myself to calm down. Come into my office. Make dropped the words and returned to his office. Looking at the open door, I could only walk in with a heart full of resignation. He sat on the couch, his legs crossed, his head tilted. Sit. I swallowed and hesitantly sat down. Now tell me what's bothering you at the company that you're openly browsing job listings during work hours? I lowered my head, trying to defend myself. Make, I think it's already after work hours. Make seemed to ponder for a moment and didn't press me further. It's late. You can go home now. With his permission, I quickly slipped out of his office and made sure to close the door. Downstairs, I suddenly remembered that Make hadn't eaten after returning from the interview. Should I order him some porridge? I took out my phone but hesitated after opening the food delivery app. What exactly were we? What did this relationship mean now? He was Nora's husband and I, Lucie, had nothing to do with him anymore. After a brief struggle, I gritted my teeth and ordered it anyway. Maybe it was just the last bit of concern from an employee to a boss. I opened our chat, typed a message, and sent it. Make, I noticed you didn't seem to have eaten. I've ordered some porridge for you. Please check for the delivery. After a while, Make transferred 1,000 yuan to me without saying a word, but his dominance was clear. Take it. I pursed my lips. Was he this generous with everyone? The next day at work, I received a call from the caregiver. Grandma had finally woken up. A weight lifted from my heart, and I thought about going to visit her, to spend time with her. I used to be poor, working all the time and neglecting my little old lady. Now, there was no rush. Everything could come slowly. I quickly wrote a leave request and sent it to the secretary. But it was rejected. I found him and asked why. Secretary, I'd like to take leave. The secretary looked troubled. Lucie, it's not that I don't approve, but the secretary department's policy has changed. I frowned. What do you mean? He sighed. It means since you joined the company, the CEO has issued a new rule. Any secretary requesting leave must have his personal approval. Since the new policy came into effect, we all try not to ask for leave if possible. After hearing this, I felt disheartened, but I really wanted to go back. I gave myself a pep talk and knocked on Make's office door. Come in. I briefly explained the situation to Make and handed him my leave request. I thought it would be a simple matter, but he had a lot of questions. Make, where are you going? Me. Grandma had surgery a while ago, and now she's awake. I want to go see her. Make, how long will you be gone? I didn't reply. Maybe 3 or 4 days, maybe a month. Or maybe, if I found another job, I might not return. Make stared at me for a long time, then approved my leave on the form. Make sure to send the leave request to HR, he reminded me. Thank you, Make. I stood in front of the door for a long time after leaving his office. I might never come back here again. After all, the money for Grandma's treatment came from the family, and the surgeon was one they recommended. Otherwise, Grandma might still be suffering. In the end, I couldn't fight it. So, Make, maybe we'll meet again by chance. But perhaps we'll never see each other again. After 2 hours of flying and 3 hours in a ride-share car, I finally reached Grandma's nursing home. Grandma, looking at the little old lady who used to lie in bed, now up and well, my tears couldn't stop flowing. Grandma's eyes turned red, and she tightly held my hand. Lucie, you've worked hard. These days must have been tough on you. I talked to Grandma about so many things, our family, Nora, and my mom. Grandma seemed a bit dazed. They're doing well, both mother and daughter. I'm sure your father is happy for you, even from the afterlife. She affectionately patted my head, just like when I was little, combing my hair. It's just a pity, my dear. Why didn't you go with them when you were little? Why were you so foolish? I knew Grandma always thought I was wronged in this family. But she didn't know. Growing up with Grandma was the happiest thing. The house was small, but it had Dad's love and Grandma's warmth. The house was small. I shook my head and jumped into Grandma's arms. Grandma, if you say that again, I'll get mad. I'll be the one you can't comfort. Grandma laughed and let it go. As we were chatting, the door to the room opened. I thought it was the caregiver, so I didn't pay much attention. Huh, handsome boy, did you come to the wrong place? Hearing Grandma's voice, I turned in curiosity. My smile froze. Make? How did he end up here? Why was he here? Make was holding a variety of gift boxes in his hands. When he heard the voice, he paused, slightly surprised, then walked towards us. Hello, Grandma. Grandma nodded kindly at him. Handsome boy, did you come to the wrong place? Make nodded and said calmly, I thought this was Building 5. Oh dear, you're in the wrong place. Building 5 is ahead. Make put the gifts on Grandma's bed. Thank you, Grandma. Only when Make's gaze landed on me did I force myself to greet him. Hello, Make. Grandma kept looking between us. I held her hand and said, Grandma, he's my boss. Make nodded slightly and naturally sat down in the chair beside us. Grandma, how are you feeling now? To my surprise, Grandma, who was once frail, was now full of energy, chatting away with everyone. As time passed, I interrupted them. Make, your friend must be waiting for you. He glanced at me, his expression unreadable, then lazily checked his watch. Well, Grandma, I'll let you rest. Grandma looked worried. The conversation had gotten so warm. Make, do you know how to get to Building 5? Without hesitation, Make nodded. I'm not sure, but it's okay. I'll find it slowly. That wouldn't do. Grandma, always eager to help, sat up quickly. She pushed me towards Make. Lucie, take him there. I didn't move, so she pushed me again. Be obedient. As we left the room, I glanced at Make, still feeling dizzy. What? I just arrived here, and Make's already here? How did he end up in the wrong room? I pursed my lips. Make, are you visiting a friend? He nodded, not saying much. A very good friend. I took him to Building 5 and pointed to the front desk. Make, I'll leave you now. He didn't speak, and when I glanced at him, I noticed how pale his face was. I quickly helped him to a nearby seat. Make, what's wrong? Is it a headache? He shook his head and held his stomach with one hand. It's fine, just an old issue acting up. It was definitely his stomach again. A surge of anger suddenly flared up. Make, don't you dare die on me? If you don't take care of yourself, I advise you not to waste your energy at the company. After all, you're just doing it for others. But seeing how he was in pain and not saying much, my heart softened. I'll go get you a registration number and get some porridge outside. As I was about to turn around, he yanked my wrist with force. Looking into his red eyes, his voice choked. Darling, please don't pretend you don't know me. I trembled in his arms. So he had recognized me long ago. Make, do you know who you're calling? Make let go of me, wiped the tears from my eyes, and in the next moment, he kissed me all over. After a long while, he held my face. I'm calling my dear Lucie. I cried uncontrollably in his arms and people around us stared. Make opened his mouth, but before he could say anything, a security guard interrupted us. You two, could you take your crying outside? No noise allowed here. Make held my hand and led me to a bench in the park. He called my name over and over. I heard Grandma call you Lucie. He kissed my forehead. It sounds really nice. I sniffled. When did you figure out I wasn't Nora? From the first day you moved into my house. Why? I didn't understand. After makeup, Nora and I really look alike. Even our mothers couldn't tell us apart. Make smiled. You forgot? When you first came to my house, I was still blind. I grew up with Nora. How could I not know what kind of person she is? She never liked me. She would never come to take care of a blind man like me. When I found out you weren't Nora, I was afraid you were an undercover agent, sent by your family, so at first I was rude to you. Later, Make smiled again, and I understood without needing him to continue. I wanted to keep my distance from you and investigate slowly, but in the end I ended up falling for you. I recalled the past. Those 2 years, being her substitute, were the happiest moments of my life. I thought the one you loved all along was Nora. Meg's temper flared. How could that be? I never even touched her. I knew the moment I removed the bandages. I've never even held her hand. I quickly covered his mouth, glancing around. How could he be so blunt? But in reality, my heart felt like it had been coated with honey. Meg pulled my hand away. Nora and I never got a marriage certificate. From the beginning to the end, I've only loved you. No marriage certificate? What did that mean? I clearly saw the stamp. Seeing my confusion, Meg grinned smugly, full of confidence. That was fake. The family members didn't notice and never doubted me. As he spoke, his gaze softened. I never liked Nora. Even though it was an arranged marriage, I could never have gotten a certificate with her. I only want to share the same household registration book with the person I love. The marriage certificate I showed you was just something I tricked Nora into believing. Boom, 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 my heart sounded like fireworks exploding. All the frustration and regret that had weighed me down for so long were suddenly released. No wonder the more time I spent with him, the fewer times he called me Nora. He always called me darling. At that time, I secretly felt so happy. Because he didn't call me Nora, that meant I could be myself. The one who married Meg could be Lucie. The one who could have her long, hidden crush come true. Seeing me unresponsive, Meg scratched my chin. Darling Lucie, could you give me a reaction? Huh? I was still dazed. In the next second, Meg kneeled down in front of me, taking a box out of his pocket. Lucie, will you marry me? Let's get married and build a home together. I reached out with red eyes. I will. Meg embraced me, laughing joyfully, whispering in my ear, for the rest of our lives, please take care of me, my dear. After Grandma fell asleep, I took Meg to the house where I had grown up. He carefully looked at the certificates on the wall. I explained, though life was tough before, Grandma has always treated me well. She's treasured every award certificate I've ever earned. Suddenly remembering something, I pulled him into my room. After fumbling around, I handed him a photo. Since you've told me so many secrets, let me tell you one of ours. Meg looked down at the photo I gave him. Is this from my high school days? Take another look. I tilted my head, signaling him to pay attention. We met in high school? Meg's voice trembled slightly. I sniffed and felt like fate had a strange way of working. During my sophomore year, I went to their school for a competition and fell in love with him at first sight. I secretly took this photo and could only learn about him through the school's confession wall. Back then, every night, I would send messages to the confession wall. I hoped that someone from his school would leak some information about him. Later, Nora and Mom found me and asked me to pretend to be Meg's wife. No one knew how happy I was. After Nora returned to the country, I willingly stepped aside, thinking Meg only loved Nora. And later, when Meg came to my house, I shared my journey with him. I felt like everything was worth it. He held me in his arms, murmuring in my ear, I'm so glad I met you. What about the family? I was a bit worried since Nora is now a public figure. Not long ago, the interview between Meg and her was still online. I understood both the pros and cons of public opinion. Public opinion can elevate a person, but it can also destroy them. Meg gently stroked my head and then pulled out a stack of photos. I looked at him in confusion, then took the photos and saw that they were pictures of Nora. The person in the photo, kissing Nora, was a once renowned star from the entertainment industry. My heart trembled. I didn't expect Nora would. Darling, don't look at that. Nora and I never got a certificate. That's just her love life. I'm definitely not her affair partner. Watching Meg defend himself, I couldn't help but laugh. There was nothing I could do except comfort him. As we talked, he began to do some calculations. You're really cruel. If I hadn't had a stomachache in front of you, would you have kept a distance from me forever? Honestly, I had planned exactly that. I liked him, but I would slowly distance myself. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, he already knew my answer. He angrily pinched my nose. Little ungrateful one. Is there anything your husband can't solve for you? Are you worried about the contract you signed with your family? I was a bit shocked. You've investigated that too? Yes, he nodded. Ever since the day my eyes healed, I started investigating. Following Nora's identity, I found out she has a twin sister. I also found out about your contract. Isn't it just $8 million? I'll help you with it. It's not a big deal. If we breach the contract, so be it. He scratched my chin like he was petting a little cat. He sighed melancholically. But you actually distanced yourself from me just to honor the contract. I'm a little hurt, you know? That's not it. I couldn't help but retort. Grandma's medical expenses and the doctor were arranged by the family, and I can't just take things that don't belong to me. He hugged me. Don't stress. Leave everything to me. All you need to do is love me, be my darling, and shine in what you're good at. I looked up at him. No wonder I had received an offer from the company's branch. No wonder I was transferred to the headquarters after stepping into the company with my left foot. It wasn't luck, nor was it the company's superstition. It was because of someone's special care. Make and I stayed with Grandma in Rongan for a month, and Grandma had already figured out what was going on between the two of us. Grandma held both our hands and gave us a meaningful look, her expression a little smug as though saying we young people had no secrets in her eyes. From the moment you walked in, Lucie's eyes never left you. All right, stop being so secretive with me. Hurry back to the big city. Make and I exchanged a glance and wordlessly held hands as we left. I continued living in the company, provided employee apartment, but someone shamelessly moved their things into the apartment too. I didn't get involved in the family's dealings, nor did I ask for details. Make never told me about them either. We were still the same as before. After work, we cooked together, held hands for walks, watched movies together, and in every corner of the apartment, we freely expressed the longing we had during the time we were apart. A week later, I was lying on the sofa preparing for this year's public service exam. After thinking for a while, I decided to pursue my childhood dream of becoming a teacher. While engrossed in memorizing, my phone rang. I looked at the caller ID, it was Nora. Check Weibo. She only said this before hanging up. I opened Weibo and saw that the top 3 trending topics all had a bold explosive in their titles. Hashtag Nora celebrity romance exposed. Hashtag company's air supports girlfriend with 8 million. Hashtag Nora's twin sister. What caught my eye was that Weibo was flooded with Nora's name, occasionally mixed with a few posts about Make and the celebrities. The comments were a mix of opinions. There were quite a few people cursing at me. Nora's sister isn't a good person either. Exactly, just take the money and do your job. She's in love with her brother-in-law, that's disgusting. These comments were trending because Make had responded to them. She's not a good person? Then you're not even human. So what? Didn't the breach of contract get paid to the family? I have money, what can you do about it? It's only 8 million. Is that more important than my darling? I've never even gotten married to Nora, so what do you mean brother-in-law? Also, so what if my darling lied to me? She only did it because she loves me. Let's see if she'd lie to you. Stop talking or I'll block you. Not only that, but Make also checked the marriage website and posted his marital status, with the caption, unmarried, but I have a fiancée, Lucie. And Weibo was live, streaming a press conference where Make explained everything to the public. So Nora only rejected Make because she didn't want him, so she had her sister replace her. How tasteless! No wonder Nora's acting has been a bit off lately. It was actually her sister's doing. Off topic, but if you had to choose, would you pick the celebrity or Make? Both are so handsome. What should I do? Make and his sister have a bit of a high school vibe. I can't even imagine what kind of chemistry they would have if they met earlier. Make, that was close. I almost became the male lead of a campus novel. Make seems to have a bit of a love-struck mind. Looking at the public opinion online, I started to worry about Nora. But no matter how many times I called her, I couldn't get through. When Make came back, I hurriedly ran out of the room. He took off his suit while keeping his eyes on me. Don't worry, darling. Let me explain everything to you slowly. Make pulled me onto his lap, his voice deep yet gentle. Actually, this was also a deal we reached with Nora. I was confused. I can tell that she's passionate about acting. She wouldn't ruin her reputation like this. I hadn't forgotten how Nora had once asked me about how to become a good actress. Quitting the entertainment industry is the safest option for Nora, especially since the family can't protect her now. Make pinched my ear, his tone coaxing. Sorry, baby. I just can't let the family off the hook. I knew he was worried about my feelings towards my mom. I shook my head. I don't care much about her. If it weren't for the substitute situation, I probably wouldn't have any contact with her for the rest of my life. He patted my head. The family has already stretched its influence into the company group. If we hadn't discovered it in time, the latest commercial secrets would have been stolen by them. And the reason I went blind in the first place is also connected to them. They wanted me to feel guilty, which is why they hurried me into marrying Nora and taking care of me. I was stunned, unable to speak. I never imagined the family would hurt Meg for their own interests. It was so despicable. Meg gently patted my back to calm me down. In less than 3 days, the Joe group will be in chaos. As for Nora, though I don't like her, I still thank her. He smiled at me. If she didn't dislike me, I would never have met you, nor would I have fallen in love with you. I gave her 2 choices: either quit the entertainment industry and be with the celebrity, or ruin herself with the family. I was confused. Since Nora agreed to leave the entertainment industry, why did you reveal that I was her substitute? Would she agree to that? Meg's gaze became deeper, full of determination. I want you to be able to proudly be my wife. I want everyone to know that I've only loved you from the beginning to the end. I don't want them to talk behind my back about how I once loved other women. That would be disrespectful to you. As for Nora, she doesn't have a choice. She can't have both. You can't have your cake and eat it too. But Nora's luck isn't too bad. The celebrity really loves her and it's genuine. They can fade out of the entertainment industry and live a happy life together, which isn't such a bad outcome. And I accept that. Besides, the celebrity has many industries. The entertainment industry is just where he kills time. Being with him will be better for Nora than staying with the family. Wife, do you understand now? I buried my face in his chest and nodded obediently. Meg's love was always reliable. I was lucky to be chosen by him. Looking at the public opinion online, I started to worry about Nora. But no matter how many times I called her, I couldn't get through. When Meg came back, I hurriedly ran out of the room. He took off his suit while keeping his eyes on me. Don't worry, darling. Let me explain everything to you slowly. Meg pulled me onto his lap, his voice deep yet gentle. Actually, this was also a deal we reached with Nora. I was confused. I can tell that she's passionate about acting. She wouldn't ruin her reputation like this. I hadn't forgotten how Nora had once asked me about how to become a good actress. Quitting the entertainment industry is the safest option for Nora, especially since the family can't protect her now. Meg pinched my ear, his tone coaxing. Sorry, baby. I just can't let the family off the hook. I knew he was worried about my feelings towards my mom. I shook my head. I don't care much about her. If it weren't for the substitute situation, I probably wouldn't have any contact with her for the rest of my life. He patted my head. The family has already stretched its influence into the company group. If we hadn't discovered it in time, the latest commercial secrets would have been stolen by them. And the reason I went blind in the first place is also connected to them. They wanted me to feel guilty, which is why they hurried me into marrying Nora and taking care of me. I was stunned, unable to speak. I never imagined the family would hurt Meg for their own interests. It was so despicable. Meg gently patted my back to calm me down. In less than 3 days, the Joe group will be in chaos. As for Nora, though I don't like her, I still thank her. He smiled at me. If she didn't dislike me, I would never have met you, nor would I have fallen in love with you. I gave her 2 choices: either quit the entertainment industry and be with the celebrity, or ruin herself with the family. I was confused. Since Nora agreed to leave the entertainment industry, why did you reveal that I was her substitute? Would she agree to that? Meg's gaze became deeper, full of determination. I want you to be able to proudly be my wife. I want everyone to know that I've only loved you from the beginning to the end. I don't want them to talk behind my back about how I once loved other women. That would be disrespectful to you. As for Nora, she doesn't have a choice. She can't have both. You can't have your cake and eat it too. But Nora's luck isn't too bad. The celebrity really loves her and it's genuine. They can fade out of the entertainment industry and live a happy life together, which isn't such a bad outcome. And I accept that. Besides, the celebrity has many industries. The entertainment industry is just where he kills time. Being with him will be better for Nora than staying with the family. Wife, do you understand now? I buried my face in his chest and nodded obediently. Meg's love was always reliable. I was lucky to be chosen by him.